and I even bought the poster because I was already like I was a fan of Scrubs. I was a huge Natalie Portman fan. I thought Sarsgaard was really cool in this
Oh
movie, just
yeah.
laid back, like the definition of just chill. But
Jean
the movie
Smart,
had
I
this.
love her in everything. I love her in
Oh
everything.
yeah, oh, she's
I
so
love
cool, and
her.
isn't she the best? Oh my
Oh,
gosh! But
she's the best. Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, like whatever, I enjoy Euro Trip, I enjoy Dodgeball, but
Yeah,
we don't
totally.
get many movies like this, and like we don't
Exactly.
get many. For me, like I'm like a super emo dude, so I'm watching. I really
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed like Say Anything with Lloyd Dobler. I liked this movie because Large isn't like back in the day we had so many black and white characters. The nerd meets the bombshell, right? Or
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
jock has to take a girl's glasses off and she becomes a bombshell. You like Breakfast Club established the jock, the this, the that, do that. And so you're stuck with these roles, but then you meet Large, who is, he was an actor. He's just heavily medicated, but he's also down to like take ecstasy and like just drive around and cruise. Like he's just kind of up for whatever. And then you get the character of Sam, who, she's down to go like jumping in pools, driving all around the place, just kind of hanging out, like ready to go, like roll. So they're just such and then you get Sarsgaard character who just seems totally comfortable with himself. And I love the scene where Large calls him out. And he's like, "Yo, I don't talk about how much of an asshole you are. Like, let me be." So these
Yeah.
characters are quite gray in this world, and I really took to that. And the scenes where he wanted to talk to his dad, and just watching movies that had some emotions to them, and just the way he kind of filmed it. And I was already like a fan of Wes Anderson. I didn't quite know around this time about like The Graduate or Harold and Maude, which Braff really drew inspiration from. But something about this connected. Like I'm so much different than Large, but I love that a movie was different and it took a different approach to emotions and expressing yourself and finally living. And in my 24-year-old brain at the time, that really connected. I didn't go buy a trike, World War II era bicycle and live in a boat, but I just appreciate the message this movie had. And so, yeah. And now that like the hate comes towards it, like people are like, oh, the scene with the shirt, it's so contrived. But I think there's some pretty startling visuals in this. I think the framing is quite excellent. There's a
I love
scene
it.
where, yeah, after they drop off Mark at his house, where the trike is parked, like this, the framing of it looks good. The door frames that they use, the opening shot. There's a lot of telling, not showing.
Yeah.
And like the cinematographer, let me get his name right here, Lawrence Shear, I think did a really great job. And the production designer Judy Becker was on the commentary and listening to about how she bought that boat for $1,
No
and
way,
they
a
they yeah
dollar.
they fixed it
Love
up,
it.
yeah, and like bought it for $1. And I just think it's a movie that really hits above its budget, $2.5 million. And he got Natalie Portman, he got Sarsgaard for this movie, like big actors. And so it's just
Ian Holm.
I don't. I think yeah. Amen. Like so, Ian Holm is so good in this. Like we need to talk. Like that's like I've had that conversation. That makes the hair on my neck stand up. So
Right? He's so
it's
creepy actually in this. Like you can so feel that father patriarchy like level of just coming down on you while he's sitting in a chair looking up at Zach. Like he's so good in this.
you need to forgive yourself. No, come on. It's
He's so terrible.
there's just some good themes in this, and I know some people complain that oh, way to not like oh, so this guy's medicated his whole life, and one weekend away doing drugs and meeting a girl when he has serious mental issues and taking drugs is going to make him worse. But I don't know. Braff said his mom was a psychiatrist, and so he talked to her a lot. And I don't know if this guy had actual. I think it would be I think it would be insulting to say this guy actually had actual needs for medication or any like
No, he didn't. His father
yeah,
medicated the crap out of him.
exactly. And so you just think you need it, and so now he's realizing that. I mean, the guy's going to clearly need probably therapy, but
Because
it's
of
not
it.
like
Yeah,
it's not like a man who's bipolar realizing like having an off weekend and being like I don't need meds. Like it's not that, but
exactly.
that's what people were comparing it to. And I think you're right. People have stretched for this movie, and the whole manic pixie. Man, that phrase is so annoying.
I
I
know.
like
I hate saying it even.
yeah.
Like,
I think
Even the creator of that phrase hates it. So, there we go. Can everyone
Ebert's
stop?
something interesting. He's like Sam, a local girl who's one of the creatures you sometimes find in movies. A girl who's completely available, absolutely desirable, and really likes you. He's like Portman's success in creating this character is all the more impressive because we learn almost nothing about her. Like that's what he says. So before that phrase came out, I don't know. Do you agree with that?
I think this phrase actually came out before Garden State, no?
Oh, did it? Oh, for
Yeah,
what,
I did.
Elizabethtown?
Yeah. No, because I went and looked. Yeah. It was actually before this movie.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, no, I did read his review on that, and yeah, I didn't agree. I think she's got a very colorful life, honestly. I think just because you're not a, I don't know, deep, sad, and depressive person, now you're not interesting. Is that what we're saying here?
Yeah.
Also, I just want to get back to the whole, I'm going to tell you a story now of why I also related to this very much. Because as much as I am more of an extrovert and social person, for a year and a half, I was Andrew Largeman because I was misdiagnosed with bipolar and I was put on medication that made me, with my very, very good memory, not remember a year and a half of my life because I was on all kinds of drugs. So I've read a lot of reviews saying, this has such a terrible message. It says you can just stop taking your medication and you'll be fine. This guy was misdiagnosed by his own dad. This guy was not supposed to be on lithium. Guys, do you know what lithium, that is holy, yeah, people don't just get put on lithium. Where that's hardcore, that's next level. And here's the thing, we don't we all of us, Zach, you and me, all of us who grew up back then, psychology and psychiatry was still called pseudoscience. So there wasn't a lot of even money pumped into stuff. People didn't know. So people were getting misdiagnosed all the time. That was a thing that happened a lot. And that's what this movie felt for me. It was the first time that I saw, wow, someone get misdiagnosed and put on drugs in a movie. I related so much with it. And I think that's why, I had that whole thing of, I get this. And I could understand how he just feels nothing and decides to want to feel, because that's exactly what happened with me. After a year and a half of feeling like a freaking zombie, don't know if I'm coming or going. I was like, okay, I can't. I need to off with this. And I eventually, got to a better psychiatrist, and they were like, oh dear, no, you don't have bipolar. Like, you have other things, but that's not it. So,
Wow.
those things happen. And the movie showed that. So I really don't know where people get that idea that this movie was saying, get off your meds, you'll be fine. This guy wasn't supposed, his dad put him on the meds because he got angry when he was a kid and pushed his mom. He pushed his mom. He didn't
Mhm.
attack her with a knife or he just had an impulsive feeling and pushed her. And that's the whole movie. It's about feelings, all the characters, and the different ways they feel. We talked about Sarsgaard's Mark as well. I mean, he's got this chill vibe happening, but you know what? If you push him enough, he's going to tell you exactly how he feels. You've got his mom, Carol, played by Jean Smart, the amazing Jean Smart. She's like, oh, listen, I will tell you how I feel, but also in such a subtle, toned down, every single character in this movie. We've got the Method Man.
Yes. Raise your hand if you
Really
just
not
saw
shy
suspicious.
about telling us how
Yeah.
he feels. It's a
Yeah.
feel movie. Zach also said he wrote this movie while he was writing the script. He was struggling. He was depressed. He was working as a waiter, just trying to get by. And he just wanted to that whole struggling with feeling and how you people expect you to hold it in and be fine, but how that's also not really the healthiest thing. Expression is the thing that we as humans need. I mean, that's the bloody movie. I'm sorry, I
Mhm.
get excited because, yeah, I think, yeah, this movie is way more than, oh, the little boxes people want to shove it in.
There's a lot of cynicism in this, and it's
Lots,
like
lots.
later on, like the people kind of making fun of it, I guess. But it's Yeah, and once again, like this sounds weird, but I've noticed movies that are I don't know if this movie's really earnest or it's just very upfront about its feelings and what it wants to get across. I've noticed movies like this that are just I don't, and so correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be wrong, but you watch like a M. Night Shyamalan movie where he's completely earnest about his proceedings, and then you have this where it's you want those feels, it goes for those visuals, and like I think those movies are easier for people to attack sometimes because they what am I trying to think of here?
Yeah,
They're just like
they don't want to feel, bro. I don't know, maybe, I don't
it
know.
just it hides nothing, this movie. I think it the music helps you cue the speeches, like it's putting it all out there for you. It kind of wants you to feel. And so I think sometimes people really react negatively to that. Like I watch Wes Anderson movies and I adore them for their production design, eccentricities and all of that. And then other people are watching it and they're like, "Oh, this is some like cute BS. Like look at this cutesy stuff." So
Mm.
it's I don't know if you've noticed. I know a bunch of people who feel that way.
I
So
know a lot of
it's
people too, yeah, that like, or if it's like, say, an emotional horror movie or whatever, like I know people that have literally told me, yeah, I don't like emotional cues, don't do it for me. So, I guess some people don't want to like have the more emotional, let's look at our feelings vibes, which is fine, but don't attack it then, please.
yeah,
Just don't,
ex-
because so you're saying, oh, people that feel or what? Shouldn't do what? You're gonna mock people who feel things. That's just not cool.
mhm. And I don't know this movie though. Remember in 2004, this movie felt like a I
Oh
don't know.
man.
But also though, I was getting hit really hard by movies around this time. I remember there's a theater called Terra, and so when I grew up, I used to watch a lot of movies, but I would order from Columbia House, go to the theaters, or I would go to Blockbuster and rent the new movies. So I didn't really have like I was really kind of into mainstream stuff, and sometimes on like the MTV Movie Awards I would find out about the Virgin Suicide, so I'd go watch that. Like I didn't have an indie theater near me. I mean, I watched
Mm,
like kids and stuff, but I didn't have this like indie world. So when I got to college, I discovered this indie theater,
mm,
and I
mm.
just used to go there by myself and watch movies like Elephant, or like I discovered Gus Van Sant, like I discovered Murder Ball, like documentary. I would go watch all of these just independent films. And
Mm.
then I don't know, I just felt like when I watched Garden State, there was like a good time in my life where I'd been like really trying to like broaden my film horizons, and this one just hit me hard. It just
Yeah.
it felt so much different, and I just connected with it. I Even though I'm not like the characters, and also too, I love the mystery on the back half of this movie where
Yeah.
they're going
It's so
through and
cute.
paint cans and then nitrous oxide and then a boat and then getting that thing that he sold back for it. Because remember early, like they set it up. He takes jewelry off people and
Yeah.
sells it. And
Yeah,
like
it's
it
that
really,
moment where they like
and
look at
so,
each other. It's like, yeah, I see you.
and then he gave it back. Like Braff had that made. That was his mom had a necklace like that she lost. So he had the prop master make one of those for him.
Mm.
And so it's like just I love the mystery of that. And like where are we going? What's happening? And I love when they have the big fight against each other when Large finally lets loose on Mark, and Mark just makes a joke. And then what didn't they make a joke about knights or something like that? Like don't make a joke about that. And then he just picks him up. Like
Oh
it's
yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
like there's like cool friends and like just you have the buddy who made the Velcro, and just this weird journey that it took me on really spoke to me. I don't know why I gave all that history of movies, but what I was saying was growing up I didn't watch many Garden State-esque movies. I would watch,
Yeah. Same.
yeah, exactly. So I, but I do see how maybe I could have been like some people walk out of it and like, man, that movie's like a revelation. Like that movie is like you just don't get it. But I don't know. I think people really like Braff's style, and then there's people who hate it, and then they make fun of those people. But I don't know. Like what Wish I Was Here, like that movie got a ton of backlash too against it. But I don't know. I like Braff. It's cool.
I
I know I just
yeah.
went on a long-winded thing, but this it's just different. Why not? Like you got Natalie Portman. I
It's
watched this movie again.
different.
Yeah.
And it's
Watch
like,
Natalie Portman. Yeah.
yeah, no, sorry, I just want to say like it's got this like element of, this lone guy coming into this world that used to be his world. So like he remembers the people, but he's been out of it so long, like clearly, it's not really his world anymore. So he comes in and it's all